A.J. Brown, Jonathan Taylor, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, Nakobe Dean, Joey Porter Jr. What do all of these guys have in common? They were all ranked in the top 10 of the Wolf Sports draft board. They all fell out of the first round, and NFL teams came to regret it. Hey, it's David Shapeen. Welcome to the Wolf Sports YouTube channel. Today's video is about how history shows two players might be the biggest steals in the 2026 NFL draft. NFL draft season is both one of the most fun and most aggravating times of year. The fun is obvious. Projecting players to the next level is an incredible challenge, but doing it at a high level is how you build championship squads. The aggravating part is seeing how much groupthink there is out there, from the media covering the draft to many of the NFL teams actually making the selections. Not many people stray from the norm. We've lived this scouting and analyzing the draft, and millions of fans have lived it when shaking their heads at decisions by a revolving door of general managers. It's no wonder some NFL organizations consistently lose year after year and decade after decade. A.J. Brown and Jonathan Taylor really stand out from the past several years. Both were ranked as second-round picks by the consensus. Both were drafted in the second round by the NFL, and both have become total superstars at the next level, and they did it quickly. Brown and Taylor were simply monsters as prospects. They've shown that in the NFL. We don't understand how everyone missed it. Owusu-Koramoah was a major force for the Browns before missing last year due to a neck injury. He showcased the elite athleticism, versatility, and play style that made him a top 10 prospect to Wolf Sports. Unfortunately, we don't know if JOK will be able to play again, but he was one of the NFL's most underrated players when healthy. He was a steal at 52 overall. Nakobe Dean was also a steal, dropping all the way to the third round. This might have been due to concerns over his shoulder, but it was still stunning to watch the Georgia Bulldog continue to drop, given his leadership, mindset, and ability. The Eagles took him at 83, and it certainly worked out with all-pro level play when on the field. Finally, Joey Porter Jr. was an extremely long corner who excels in press coverage and performed well in big matchups with Ohio State's receivers in 2021 and 2022 while at Penn State, despite the narratives you might have heard. While Porter has a bit of a reputation for grabbing, which leads to some ticky-tack calls against him sometimes, he's played at an all-pro caliber level for the Steelers, who stole him at the top of the second round in 2023. The one player we had in the top 10 who went in the second round who doesn't have a case for a star quite yet is former Auburn cornerback Roger McCreary, but he's been solid, and it'll be interesting to see if he can make a big impact for the Lions this season. For Taylor and Brown specifically, it was really weird that none of the pundits on ESPN or NFL Network stood up and was like, why the heck hasn't Jonathan Taylor been drafted? As the former league-leading rusher has shown, he's an elite talent and had the production to match it at Wisconsin. Should have been a home run prospect. Kind of crazy he wasn't. We weren't racking prospects publicly back then, but Derrick Henry is another serious miss by the NFL and the media. I couldn't believe the things the supposed experts were saying about King Henry at the time when he was coming out of Alabama, as if he was some big, slow back with concrete feet and not the unstoppable force we've seen become one of the league's all-time great runners. So let's call it 5 out of 6. 2 undoubted superstars in Brown and Taylor. The other 3, if not stars, though they can be arguably classified as such, at least major values on day 2 of the draft. All this brings us to the 2026 NFL draft, where if history and the track record is any indication, we could see 2 more of these steals outside of the first round. Wolf Sports has Alabama wide receiver Germie Bernard and Indiana cornerback D'Angelo Ponz locked in as top 10 prospects. However, when looking at the odds, it appears they're set to slip out of the top 32. One of the first things that stands out about Bernard is how exceptional his hands are. He plucks the ball with extreme confidence, actually reminiscent of A.J. Brown. Overall, he has shades of both Brown and Deebo Samuel, someone who gets a lot of comps in the pre-draft process every year, but Bernard is a guy who earns it. To his game, the former Crimson Tide star is very smooth and comfortable with the ball in his hands, and the natural ability extends to running routes to all areas of the field and from a variety of positions. Ponz is from the national champion Indiana Hoosiers and elevated his game during the undefeated title run, including a pick 6 in the first play of the CFP matchup with Oregon. You might hear a lot of talk about how pound for pound, Ponz is one of the best players in the draft, yet no one really sees him as one of the top overall players. Though the position is different, this reminds me of when people thought Bucs All-Pro safety Antoine Winfield Jr. was too small. He dropped to the second round, and Tampa Bay benefited. Ponz makes up for his 5'9" size with extreme athleticism of true 4.3 speed and a 43.5-inch vertical. It translates to the field. He's a sticky corner who can play in any defensive scheme. If looking for a comp, think a smaller Tre'Davious White, who himself isn't the biggest corner but could lock down opponents. Maybe Bernard and Ponz go higher than expected, but it feels like we might see them go on the path we've seen for stars of the past. Do you have any steals in the 2026 NFL draft you're high on? Let us know in the comments, and thank you for watching.